See, as far as the tariff on alcoholic beverages concerned with reference to the United States, and today, being the so-called Liberation Day, as announced by the President, Mr. Trump, India has already, decreased its overall duty by 50%. So the duty from 150% has over the last 1 month come down to 100% for bourbon, and our stand is very clear. That is CIABC stand, which represents all Indian alcoholic beverage companies, right? And we have 20 members, all representing big Indian companies owned by Indians and run in India essentially, and also with huge export markets through our Indian single malts and other products, including wines. We are very clear that the duty should remain at 100% currently and not immediately come down. We have recommended the same to the Government of India. And we have also shared a 10-year roadmap for the decrease of duty to 50% for bottled in origin products, and 50% will be the resting rate. So that's our recommendation. The reason is also because our dynamics are very different in India, as when you compare it with all the developed countries. So whether it's the EU countries or UK, from where the maximum imports into India originate in terms of spirits, or America, or for that matter Australia, Chile, Argentina, South Africa, New Zealand, or France for wines, and Italy and Spain, we are very clear that there has to be a gradual reduction in duty. It's not that the Indian industry is against duty reduction, but we have suggested a staggered duty reduction, which will ensure that there's a level playing field across the industry, number one. And number two, it also enables the industry, which is now in a constant, which is constantly, creating more premium offerings, giving Indian consumers as well as international consumers, right, the best India can offer. And that's a continuous process. You have to also understand that in India, unlike in most other countries, the beverage alcohol industry is controlled by states. It's not a central subject in that sense. It's a state subject as per the constitution. Hence, we deal with close to about 30 odd countries within the borders of India. So it is difficult for companies to get economies of scale. It's difficult for companies. It becomes difficult to navigate. So costs go up, right? And our costs, whether it's input costs, whether it is cost of transportation, the whole lot, the cost of operations, let me put it that way, is far more higher if you look at it per liter than what it is in the developed countries. Hence, we have always sought the fact that yes, we don't mind duty reduction, but let it be in a staggered manner, so that will help keep Indian companies, their business operations, to continue. It will help protect about 50 lakh farmers and about 20 lakh odd people who are involved in the industry to continue to earn the benefits from the industry, as well as also the revenues of the state. The states collectively earn over about 3 lakh 3 lakh crore rupees per year in terms of tax revenues across India. That needs to be also protected. So we are very clear that yes, the Government of India has already reduced duties vis-a-vis US to 100%. Let it be at 100%. And over a 10-year period, it can come down for bottled in origin products to 50%. And for bulk, we have also given our separate recommendation as far as spirits are concerned to 25%, which is the resting rate, and as far as wines are concerned, to 50%. And another recommendation of ours, which we have given, is to have a minimum import price so that there is no under invoicing or companies who are operating in India resorting to lower transfer prices than what they actually sell in other countries. In fact, if you see in some of our states, we know that a lot of imported brands, well-known imported brands I should say, come at ridiculously low transfer prices, which when you compare to the prices that they export to Europe from their country of production, is at much higher, right? So obviously they are giving a very biased price, if I may say so, to India, and we are against it. Let there be a fair play as far as all this is concerned, and then we have no problems, right? So our stand is very clear that the government has already acceded to a request and got down the duty to 100, and we would like the duty to remain at that level, and over a 10 years time span go down to 50%.
Sir, what impact do you see on the market and for the consumers?
See, let me put it this way. It's too early to make a call on that, what will be the impact. As far as US imports into India are concerned, whether it's bourbon or any other alcoholic beverage product from the US, the exports are not as much if you look at the total basket of imports into India as compared to say what comes from the United Kingdom in terms of both bulk scotch and bottled in origin scotch, as well as from other EU countries or Australia in terms of wines and others. So currently the presence of bourbon or other forms of alcoholic beverages from America, there is a market here, but it's a developing market, correct? So it's too early to hazard what would happen, and whether prices would come down just because duties have come down. Well, obviously prices will be passed on. Any duty cut normally gets passed on in most businesses, so one would suspect that, and that would again make the Indian premium offerings uncompetitive to start with, number one. Also, you have to realize that a number of Indian states, right, such as Maharashtra, Kerala, Orissa, Delhi for that matter, Haryana, okay, all of them, MP, Rajasthan, all of them have very favorable policies with respect to bottled in origin brands, whether it's in spirits or wines, whether it is brand registration cost, label registration cost, duties, right? We must be the only country that tends to favor imported products rather than trying to, ensure and, safeguard the interests of Indian products. Most countries tend to safeguard their own products, which is what even, Mr. Trump is doing as far as the US is concerned. Right, wrong is a different argument, but what I'm saying is he's doing it, right? And I think it's right in that sense that, yes, we need to protect and safeguard our own, businesses. That ensures employment, that ensures, revenues to the state, etc., etc. So why are Indian state governments trying to be, discriminatory, right? And, discriminate against Indian products? And it also pains us more that a number of these states are ruled by the party in power, right? Which itself is, always talking about and also putting into focus as a part of their long-term, fiscal policy, right? And Atmanirbhar Bharat, Viksit Bharat, right? And we are constantly, exhorting all the states, right? Safeguard Indian interests, right? Don't have discrimination in duties, right? And you see that happening. I mean, you see that in terms of, like to like. For example, in some of the states, you will see like Maharashtra, an Indian single malt, right, is far more expensive than the bottled in origin single malts. Why? Because they pay double the duty, right? And this is despite the fact that there's an import duty on bottle and origin products, right? So it's a whole different dynamic which is at play. So we are saying let's have fair play and let's do it. And the other point also in India is that not with reference to the US, but with reference to the other countries which are seeking FTA, we are very clear that all the non-tariff barriers that are, such as definition of whiskey, etc., needs to be removed. We are willing to call our product Indian whiskey, right? We are willing to call our product Indian rum. We have no hesitation in saying that, right? We are proud of them, right? I'm not talking about single malt whiskies. They have no such discrimination. I'm talking about blended whiskies. And why not? If those countries can allow American whiskey or Japanese whiskeys, before Japanese whiskeys had some definitions which has come on recently, why not? Right? So we are saying remove non-tariff barriers also. Let there be a level playing field between countries. We are okay with it.
Sir, how this the reduction in the tariff from 150% to 100%, how it is going to benefit US bourbon whiskey industry?
See, obviously the duty drop makes bourbon more attractive in terms of its end consumer price if the companies there decide to pass the duty reductions into India. So that depends on how each of those companies which operate in India, right, want to fine-tune their RTM. I cannot see it. It's for the companies to obviously respond. But the way I look at it is, yes, it will 100% give an edge. It will definitely benefit those companies when they start selling their brands vis-a-vis their competition, which could be premium or luxury brands from India in the blended whiskey / single malt space, which could be Scotch whiskey from the UK, from Scotland that is, whether they are blended or single malt, or whiskeys, vodkas, gins and other imported products from other parts of the world, right? So obviously it gives them an edge, but I suspect that at the end of the day, when whatever India does as far as US is concerned in terms of duty cut, right, is not an isolated instance. Other countries will also ask for a similar benefit when they enter into their bilateral discussions. We are aware of discussions happening now between India and UK and EU and India, a lot of media coverage, etc., etc. So we believe that yes, there will be duty reductions there too. We only want them to be fair and square, and we have already recommended on behalf of our members a certain route of duty reductions, right? And we expect and we believe that the government of India is aware of our issues, right? And they will take the necessary steps to safeguard the overall Indian industry interests, not only in our sector, but if you read whatever has been written in the press, what various cabinet ministers and others have stated, they have clearly stated that at the end of the day, first we will be safeguarding the interests of Indian industry overall, whether it's the automobile sector, pharmaceutical sector, whether it is the beverage alcohol sector, the textile sector, the engineering sector, right? So we believe the government will play fair. That is our belief.
Currently there is a discussion on FTA going on with UK and EU and with US as well. So when the discussion is on, the government discuss with the stakeholders how to carry it forward and how to go on the discussion forward. What will be your recommendation on these FTA with the UK and EU when both parties sit on the table?
I have already told you. I just told you in my preceding statements that we have given a recommendation. Our recommendation is very clear. We would like duty reduction in a staggered manner for bottle in origin from 100% to 50% to the resting rate. We have already said that. We have also said that there has to be a minimum import price for bottle in origin spirits, which could be whiskey, gin, rum, vodka, right, etc. For wines also to have a minimum import price, and for wines not only for bottle in origin but also for bulk, right, because in India there are substantial wine investments and there are a lot of farmers who have vineyards now, especially in areas in Karnataka, Maharashtra and in other states where they're growing specialized grape varietals for winemaking. So everyone needs, their interests also need to be safeguarded, right? So we have given our recommendations that duty cuts should be in a staggered manner. There should be a minimum import price. That's there in our recommendation. We have also said that any non-tariff barrier which exists, which prevents exports of Indian alcoholic beverage products into Europe or into the UK or into other countries in the Western world or other developed countries, they need to be dismantled. And if they have done it for others, why can't they do it for India? Number one. And let the market decide finally whether they accept our products or not. They have accepted a single malt, they have accepted some of our beers, they have accepted some of our rums. Let them accept everything. It's there. There's a consumer out there. Let the consumer decide.
And so, what is the current status of Indian premium spirits like like Jaisalmer, like Paul John?
In terms of what?
In the sale in India, the imported whiskey and.
See, if you look at it last year, whatever the industry data that we have come, Indian single malts have overtaken bottle in origin single malts, which essentially come from Scotland, right? And we have obviously done more sales than them. There are, all of them are our members, other than Paul John, all of them are my members. Indri is Piccadilly, which is our member. Rampur is from Radico, who's our member. Doab from Globus is our member. Crazy Cock from South Seas is a member. Gyanchand from the Diwan Sons is a member, right? So all of them are our members, right? And a number of our other members are also in the process, I presume, of launching single malts. A number of them have set up malt distilleries, etc. So we believe, and also a lot of our own member companies have launched very premium, or should I say luxury brands. For example, ABD has launched Art House. We have Third Eye, which is a member, which has launched, which is very famous for Stranger and Sons Gin, which has also launched the other side, right? Then you have a Royal Ranthambore from Radico. You have Singhasan from Modi Ilva. Brands like these. And then you have Jaisalmer Gin. I've already spoken about Stranger and Sons. You have Terai from Globus, right? And there are various brands that are being given, even in the premium plus whiskey segment, what we call in our category, like Golfer Short 18, Rockford Reserve, right? There are a whole host of brands that are making a big play in the market. You also have Magic Moments Verve, which is a premium vodka, right? One More Vodka Next, which is another premium vodka, right? Globus has another vodka called Snowski. So everyone is in play. Correct. And also please don't also forget that there's also something called the mass, beverage alcohol in India, which is what sells a lot, right? So we have, like in Karnataka and in other places. So we have another member of ours in Brew that sells. Then you have Amrut, which is the pioneer in single malts, right? So, they are the ones who really created the Indian single malt category, and Amrut today is found across, not only in the best of hotels and restaurants in India, right, but also abroad. You go to any duty free, right, go to Dubai duty free, other duty frees, you will find Indian brands such as Amrut, Indri, Rampur, available there. Okay, Rampur has very good sales, I think, in markets such as the US also. So yeah, our brands are now making a play, and they're very successful. They're creating a customer base, a consumer base. And if you see the United Arab Emirates, we have a lot of our brands which sell there, like Officer's Choice, Old Monk Rum, correct? And Old Monk's also launched a brand called, Jamun Gin, right? Piccadilly has launched Kamikara Rum, these are all premium rums, right? And Old Monk has premium variants also. So every single Indian company today, our members, right, are getting into the super premium segment, getting into the luxury segment, whether it's whiskey, whether it's rum, whether it's gin, whether it's vodka. Everyone is making a play for it, including including obviously even some of the non-members from our in the industry, right? Also some of the multinationals who have huge Indian plays. They are also launching brands in India with whether it's a single malt or whether it's a premium or a luxury gin or a vodka. So everyone's getting into that play.
And sir, how these brands are going to compete in UK, in EU when this FTA is?
See, as I said, if they remove the non-tariff barriers and our brands enter, their outlets, whichever have their trade license, right, what they call off trade in the UK or Europe, as I said, let the consumer decide. Okay, right now we are only selling single malts there, and a few other brands, but the moment our blended whiskies, which we call Indian whiskies, go in there, or our Indian rums go in there, even our gins go in there, it's for them to then decide what they want. And the consumer is king at the end of the day. Why should there be, non-tariff barriers preventing X from being sold in ABC countries, right? Let it go. Let the consumer decide, right? Today in Dubai, you're having our brands selling, our brands are also displayed in the outlets, whether it's, Abu Dhabi, all the UAE countries, the entire UAE. And in the same outlets, you have, international brands also being sold, whether they are from the US, whether they're from Canada, Ireland, Japan, or from UK, or from various European countries. Doesn't make a difference. I mean, people choose depending on their pocket, their affordability, as well as their taste and what they like. So finally, as we always say, consumer is king. Let the consumer decide. Why should there be non-tariff barriers? हाँ जी, पूछिए
सर। इंडिया ने यूएस बॉर्डबोर्ड विस्की पे जो टैरिफ जो था 150% उसको घटा के 100% कर दिया है। इससे क्या बेनिफिट यूएस को होगा?
देखिए, बर्बन का ड्यूटी घटाने से यूएस की जो कंपनीज हैं, जो हिंदुस्तान में भी हैं, जो बड़े कंपनीज हैं, उनका ये है कि उनका जो लैंडेड प्राइस होगा वो कम होगा, और जैसा लैंडेड प्राइस कम होगा फिर वो लोग कंज्यूमर प्राइस भी कम करके वो लोग और कॉम्पिटिटिव हो सकते हैं मार्केट में। और जो आज इम्पोर्टेड स्कॉच पीते हैं, या इम्पोर्टेड जिन वोडका पीते हैं, या लग्जरी इंडियन विस्कीज़ पीते हैं, या लग्जरी इंडियन जिन्स या वोडकाज या रम्स पीते हैं, वो थोड़ा उनके ब्रांड्स ट्राई करे और उनका मार्केट एक्सपांड हो। उस विचार से वो लोग ने भी ये बोला था, भैया ड्यूटी कम करो। और बट CIABC, जो कॉन्फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडियन अल्कोहलिक बेवरेज कंपनीज हैं, जो जितने हिंदुस्तानी यानी इंडियन ओन्ड कंपनीज के ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हैं, वो हमारे मेंबर्स हैं, बड़े बड़े कंपनी। तो हमारा पहले से ये रिकमेंडेशन था कि सरकार को कि आप जो 150% है वो आप 100% ला सकते हैं, और 10 साल में जो बॉटल इन ओरिजिन है, जो वहाँ से बॉटल होके आती है, उसको आप 50% कर सकते हैं, बोथ स्पिरिट्स को भी और वाइन्स को भी। स्पिरिट्स यानी विस्की, जिन, रम, वोडका एट्सेट्रा, एंड फॉर वाइन्स तो हमने बता दिया है। हमने ये भी कहा है हमारे रिकमेंडेशन में कि वो 50% रेस्टिंग रेट रहेगा। सेकेंडली हमने ये भी कहा है कि टू अवॉइड केसेस ऑफ अंडर इन्वॉइसिंग या लो ट्रांसफ़र प्राइसिंग, आप एक मिनिमम इंपोर्ट प्राइस रखिए, स्पेशली फॉर स्पिरिट्स एंड वाइन्स, बिकॉज हमारी जो इंडस्ट्री है इंडिया में ये पूरा स्टेट वाइज इंडस्ट्री है। हमारा इंडस्ट्री इज़ कंट्रोल्ड बाय द स्टेट्स। कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जो हमारी है, संविधान, उसमें भी लिकर इज़ अ स्टेट सब्जेक्ट, अल्कोहल इज़ अ स्टेट सब्जेक्ट। तो हमें हर स्टेट में ऑपरेट होना पड़ता है। तो उससे होता भी क्या है कि हमारा जो इकोनॉमीज ऑफ स्केल है, हमारा जो कॉस्ट ऑफ ऑपरेशन है, बहुत बढ़ जाता है। और हमारे इनपुट कॉस्ट आर ऑल्सो वेरी हाई व्हेन यू कंपेयर इट विथ इनपुट कॉस्ट इन द डेवलप्ड वर्ल्ड। जैसे यूरोप हो या अमेरिका हो या स्कॉटलैंड हो, हमारा कॉस्ट बहुत ज़्यादा है, सो हम कह रहे हैं कि हमें लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड चाहिए, राइट। उस हिसाब से हमने ये 10 साल का एक स्टैगर्ड ड्यूटी रिडक्शन का प्लान दिया है फॉर बॉटल्ड इन ओरिजिन। बल्क का सेपरेट रिकमेंडेशन है, बॉटल्ड इन ओरिजिन का सेपरेट रिकमेंडेशन है। हमें ये कहना है कि हमारा जो इंडस्ट्री है, अल्कोहलिक बेवरेज इंडस्ट्री जो हिंदुस्तान का है, राइट, भारत का जो है, वो इंडस्ट्री हर साल, राइट, 3 लाख करोड़ के ऊपर स्टेट्स को रेवेन्यू देता है। 3 लाख करोड़ एंड मोर, प्लस कुछ 50 लाख फार्मर्स हैं, किसान हैं, जो हमारे इंडस्ट्री पे डिपेंडेंट हैं, वेदर शुगर केन हो या ग्रेन फार्मर्स हो या बार्ली फार्मर्स हो, वो हमारे यहाँ हमारे ऊपर डिपेंडेंट भी हैं। बिकॉज ENA के लिए जो एथेनॉल बनती है और ENA जो बनती है, जो हमारे ग्रेन स्पिरिट जो हम कहते हैं, ग्रेन न्यूट्रल स्पिरिट, वो हम राइस से आता है, वो मेनली, और अभी हम दूसरे प्रोडक्ट्स भी यूज़ कर रहे हैं, कॉर्न हो गया, मेज़ हो गया, ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला, वो सब भी यूज़ हो रहा है। और जैसे अभी आप देसी दारू देखो, बड़े स्टेट्स में मोलासेस भी यूज़ होता है उसमें, तो ENA बनाने। तो वो जितने फार्मर इकोसिस्टम है, कुछ 50 लाख फार्मर्स हैं उसमें। फिर हमारे वाइन्स बनाते हैं, जो ग्रेप्स करते हैं, ये टेबल ग्रेप्स नहीं है, ये स्पेशल वाइन ग्रेप्स हैं, जैसे कैबरने सोविनिया या सोविनिया ब्लां है, ऐसे ग्रेप्स हैं, स्पेशल ग्रेप्स। तो ये ग्रेप वाले भी अपने इन्वेस्टमेंट करे हैं इन महाराष्ट्र हो या कर्नाटका हो या दूसरे स्टेट्स हो, तो उनका भी लाइवलीहुड इस इंडस्ट्री पे डिपेंड है, राइट। और उसके अलावा कुछ 20 लाख लोग हमारे इंडस्ट्री में काम करते हैं, यानी कंपनियों में, फैक्ट्रीज़ में, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में, जो हमारे सप्लायर्स हैं, पैकेजिंग सप्लायर्स, बोतल हो, लेबल हो, कार्टन हो, राइट, कैप्स हो, मास्टर कार्टन हो, वो सब, और जो हमारे दुकानों में काम करते हैं, जो वाइन शॉप्स होते हैं वहाँ, फिर रेस्टोरेंट्स, बार, सब में जहाँ का भी हमारे बिजनेस से जुड़े हुए हैं, वो कुछ 20 लाख के ऊपर जनाब हैं हमारे कंट्री में, उनका भी सेफ गार्ड होना चाहिए इंटरेस्ट। तो हमारी यही विनती है कि हमारा इंडस्ट्री को आप सेफ गार्ड करिए और एक लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड होनी चाहिए। और दूसरी चीज़ है कि ये भी आपको मैं बता देता हूँ कि EU और नॉट अमेरिका बट EU और UK ने नॉन टैरिफ बैरियर भी हमारे साथ खड़ा रखा है, दूसरे कंट्रियों ने भी किया है, जो डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज़ हैं एशिया में या दूसरे कॉन्टिनेंट्स में, वहाँ भी हमारी जो इंडियन विस्की है वो जा नहीं सकती। सिंगल मॉल्ट जा रही है बट इंडियन विस्की नहीं जा सकती है, क्यों? और आज हमारे जो मेंबर्स हैं उन्होंने भी इतना प्रोडक्शन अच्छा किया है, अभी सिंगल मॉल्ट हो, इंडियन सिंगल मॉल्ट जो सब जगह अभी लोग पी रहे हैं, हिंदुस्तान में भी अच्छा बिक रहा है। इनफैक्ट इट इज़ सेलिंग मोर दैन द सिंगल मॉल्ट्स विच आर इम्पोर्टेड नाउ इनटू इंडिया, इतना कंज्यूमर एक्सेप्टेंस हो गई है। फिर आप जैसे अमृत है, इंद्री है, ज्ञानचंद है, क्रेजी कॉक है, दुआब है, राइट, ऐसे बहुत ब्रांड्स हैं। फिर स्ट्रेंजर एंड सन्स जिन है, जैसलमेर जिन है, टेराई जिन है, राइट, कामिकारा रम है, ओल्ड मॉन्क रम है, राइट, जामुन जिन है। तो ये सब जो हैं प्रोडक्ट्स, राइट, ये सब हमारे मेंबर्स ने बनाया है और लास्ट 3-4 साल में हिंदुस्तान में, भारत में और विदेश में हमने मार्केटिंग एफर्ट्स करके इनको सब इस्टेब्लिश किया है। अभी आप रामपुर सिंगल मॉल देखिए, वो यूएस में बहुत अच्छा बिक्री है। अमरूद, रामपुर, इंद्री आपको ड्यूटी फ्री में सब जगह दिखेगी, राइट। तो ये सब हमारे भारत के ही ब्रांड्स हैं। और एक मेंबर हैं, हमारे मेंबर नहीं है वो, बट और एक कंपनी है पॉल जॉन, जिनकी ब्रांड्स भी आप सब जगह देखेंगे सिंगल मॉल्ट में, राइट। तो आप देखेंगे तो इंडियन स्पिरिट्स इंडस्ट्री और हमारी वाइन इंडस्ट्री भी, आप सूला देखिए, राइट, सब और ऑल ऑफ देम आर कमिंग ऑफ एज। कंपनीज आर इन्वेस्टिंग इन गुड प्रोडक्ट्स, कंपनीज आर इन्वेस्टिंग इन नाइस लग्जरी प्रोडक्ट्स। और ये नहीं कि हम लग्जरी प्रोडक्ट्स भी देख रहे हैं, हमारे मेंबर्स हैं जो मास प्रोडक्ट्स भी कर रहे हैं, जैसे इनब्रू हैं, राइट, जो मास प्रोडक्ट्स कर रहे हैं बैक पाइपर के जैसे या ब्लू रिबन जिन के जैसे, राइट। तो हम जितने कंज्यूमर सेगमेंट्स हैं, जितने प्राइस की अफोर्डेबिलिटी है, मिडिल क्लास हो या लोअर मिडिल क्लास हो या अपर मिडिल क्लास हो या रिच हो, हमारी इंडस्ट्री हम सब वर्गों के लिए हम विस्की या रम या जिन या वोडका हमने भी बनाया है हमारे मेंबर्स ने। जैसे आप देखोगे सिंहासन है, रॉयल रणथंबोर है, गोल्फर शॉट 18 है, राइट, आर्ट हाउस है एबीडी से, राइट, जोया जिन है, राइट। इतने प्रोडक्ट्स हैं अभी, राइट। सो प्रोडक्ट्स आते रह रहे हैं और सब प्रोडक्ट्स अभी एक्सेप्टेंस भी हो रहा है सब प्रोडक्ट्स का, राइट। तो ये एक अच्छी चीज़ है और हमारी इंडस्ट्री भी और डेवलप हो रही है। तो हम यही कह रहे हैं कि हमें इंडस्ट्री को सेफगार्ड करिए। हम एक 10 ईयर का रोड मैप दिए हैं और सरकार को हमने कहा है कि जैसे आप दूसरे इंडस्ट्रीज़ के इंटरेस्ट भी देख रहे हैं और सेफगार्ड कर रहे हैं, हमारा भी करिए। ये हमारी विनती है टू दी सेंटर हु आर इन डिस्कशंस विद वेरियस कंट्रीज।
यूएस टैरिफ एक अनाउंस करने वाला है पूरी दुनिया के खिलाफ, जिसमें डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प काम करते हैं। वहाँ से विदेश सेक्रेटरी ने बोला था कि वो आज अनाउंस होगा। तो उससे मतलब अगर टैरिफ लगाते हैं वो, रेसिप्रोकल टैरिफ की बात की जा रही है, तो लगाते हैं, उससे क्या फर्क पड़ेगा?
देखिए, अभी हमने ऑलरेडी, जब मोदी जी गए थे 1.5 महीने पहले यूएस, तो उनके डिस्कशंस के थोड़े दिन पहले ही हमारे भारत सरकार ने बर्बन का तो ड्यूटी गिरा दिया था 1-2 दिन पहले, उनके विजिट के पहले। तो वो 150 से 100 तक का हो गया था, राइट। तो हमने तो हमारे सरकार ने तो उनको बता दिया कि देखिए जी, वी आर विलिंग टू डिस्कस, वी आर विलिंग टू बी फेयर। और उन्होंने 50% गिराया है, कम नहीं है 50%, आप देखें तो, राइट, 150 से 100 तक का आया है, राइट। और इंडस्ट्री ने भी कहा है ठीक है जी, हमारी रिकमेंडेशन भी वो थी, हमें उससे कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, दैट्स ओके, फेयर एंड स्क्वायर। अभी जो यूएस प्रेसिडेंट कह रहे हैं कि भैया हम रेसिप्रोकल टैरिफ लगाएंगे, हाँ, हमारे थोड़े एक्सपोर्ट्स होते हैं, हमारे एक्सपोर्ट्स अच्छे होते हैं, थोड़े हमारे 1 या 2 मेंबर्स हैं जिनकी अच्छी एक्सपोर्ट्स है यूएस में, जैसे सिंगल मॉल्ट है, रामपुर है, या जैसलमेर जिन है, या अदर ब्रांड्स हैं, होगा वो तो थोड़ा इम्पैक्ट तो होगा ही उसमें। पर आपको ये भी देखना है कि जब वो ड्यूटी लगा रहे हैं, वो तो ड्यूटी स्कॉच में भी लगा रहे हैं, वो ड्यूटी यूरोप के भी वालों से लगा रहे हैं, कनाडा वालों से लगा रहे हैं, आयरलैंड वाले से लगा रहे हैं, तो वो तो सब जगह ड्यूटी लगा रहे हैं, तो प्राइजेस विल गो अप एंड फाइनली वहाँ कंज्यूमर है तो लेगा, अगर उसको पीना है तो वो खरीदेगा ही। जैसे हमारे कंट्री में भी जब स्टेट्स एक्साइज ड्यूटी इंक्रीज करती हैं, प्राइजेस तो बढ़ती है, राइट। तो जब प्राइजेस बढ़ती है तो लोग तो खरीदते हैं, जो क्या अफोर्ड कर सकता है वो खरीदेगा, राइट। तो लोग एडजस्ट करते हैं, क्या कर सकते हैं। बट आप मीडिया में जो मैं अभी पढ़ रहा हूँ कि ऑलराउंड इन्फ्लेशन तो हो रही है अभी अमेरिका में सब जगह, जैसे इंपोर्ट प्राइसेस इंक्रीज हो रही हैं, ड्यूटी इंक्रीज हो रही है, वेदर कनाडा से हो या मेक्सिको से हो या यूरोप से हो या चाइना से हो। तो अमेरिकन कंज्यूमर है वो बेचारा, वो उसके पॉकेट से देगा, वो जितना देगा उतना देगा वो। हाँ, बट एक चीज़ है कि भैया डिस्पोजेबल इनकम कम होने वाली है। जैसे डिस्पोजेबल इनकम कम होती है तो इट्स एन ऑल राउंड इफेक्ट ऑन ऑल प्रोडक्ट्स, नॉट ओनली ऑन बेवरेज अल्कोहल बट ऑन ऑल प्रोडक्ट्स। वो तो सब कंट्रीज में वो होती है, इट्स सिंपल इकोनॉमिक्स। तो वो प्रॉब्लम है, बट हाँ, there is a fear that some of the exports could get impacted. But then, I'm sure that Indian companies will find other markets to go and sell their products.
अभी करंट अपडेट क्या है? अगर हम सेल्स की बात करें तो इंपोर्टेड विस्की और इंडियन मेड विस्की में तो क्या सेल चल रही है? लोग इंडियन ज़्यादा पसंद कर रहे हैं।
मैंने बोला थोड़ी देर पहले कि आपको ही बोला था कि अभी आप देखिए हमारे सिंगल मॉल्ट्स अमृत हो या इंद्री हो या ज्ञानचंद हो या दोआब हो या क्रेजी कॉक हो, राइट, या रामपुर हो, राइट, ये जितने ब्रांड्स हैं ये सब कुल मिलाकर पिछले साल जो सिंगल मॉल्ट्स आती हैं दूसरे देशों से, या स्कॉटलैंड से हो या आयरलैंड से हो या बेसिकली स्कॉटलैंड से, वी हैव ओवरटेकन देयर सेल्स ऑन अ पर एनम बेसिस। अखबारों में भी आई है, मीडिया में भी आई है, राइट, हमारी इंडस्ट्री डेटा भी यही बता रही है। तो इट शोज दैट द इंडियन कंज्यूमर को अभी टेस्ट डेवलप हुई है। दे नो that yes, they are confident that Indian companies today make great products, and you can see it across every sector. आप ऑटोमोबाइल में भी देखिए, whether it's Tata Motors, whether it is Mahindra and Mahindra, correct, whether it is Maruti with collaboration with Suzuki, but Maruti Suzuki, I mean, whether it is in scooters, whether it is in motorcycles, right, everywhere, clothes ho, kuch bhi ho, people are very clear that if India makes a world-class product, Indians will have it, Indians will consume it, right? Will buy it, will consume it. तो वो हो रहा है। और हमारे, and it's not only limited to single malts. आपको मैंने ये भी कहा था, whether you look at even luxury whiskies, whether you look at super premium whiskies, जैसे मैंने कहा आपको brands, or you look at gin, you look at rum, सब जगह हमारे जो brands हैं, consumers are willing to buy, right? So whether it is in whiskies, whether it is Royal Ranthambore, whether it is Art House, whether it is Hingasan, whether it is Golfer Shot 18, whether it's Rockford Reserve, right? They're willing to buy. Whether it's Kamikara Ram, whether it's Old Monk, and India mein Old Monk is been there forever, and it is the torchbearer of Indian export brands at a point in time. It's a great brand. So and Mohan Meekins भी हमारा member हैं. तो all of them are selling and selling and selling, and it's good. And our other members also, whichever company, all of them are looking at launching more and more luxury brands, and wanting to ensure that their products come into play. So it's good news for Indian consumers. It's good news for international consumers that Indian products, especially in the in the beverage alcohol space, have really now come up to those standards which earlier at least people perceived. It is not that they made bad products, they made good products, but जनता के उसमें था कि भैया फॉरेन प्रोडक्ट से अच्छा हो सकता है, मेड इन इंडिया प्रोडक्ट्स आर नॉट एज गुड, बट दैट इज रॉन्ग. टुडे एवरीवन इज एक्सेप्टिंग इंडियन प्रोडक्ट्स, एंड आई एम वेरी प्राउड. एंड जो हमारे सरकार का जो है दी विजन ऑफ आत्मनिर्भरता, विकसित भारत, आई थिंक all of us, all our members, all Indian companies, whichever industry sector, I think we should all work together to make India strong and ensure that the flag of India flies high. Why not?